What's going on, guys, and welcome back to F1 2021 My Team Career Mode for the pre-season 2 video. Season 1 is all done with, so now we're starting Season 2, and this video will just be going through all the pre-season stuff, new upgrades to the car, new car livery, new teammates, and lots of other new things, driver moves all over the place. So we're going to see how things are going to be looking for Season 2. So we start off by doing some little upgrades. We've just decided to do the 2 upgrades on chassis that I was kind of holding off on. They had failed previously, and I didn't really want to do them because I wasn't sure what department would not have, because I knew that there was going to be a regulation change, but I wasn't sure what it was until Abu Dhabi. Turns out it was durability, so we're actually going through now and adapting all the durability parts. We were able to adapt them all relatively easily, and we also put those 2 chassis upgrades on the car. Now, for my teammate, who are we going to go for? Well, I wanted to go for a driver on the grid. I didn't want to go for someone crazy. We are not going to have the kind of ratings and all that to get some of these higher drivers like Hamilton, Verstappen, Ricardo, Vettel. We're not going to have the acclaim to do that, I don't think, or even the money, to be honest. So there was a couple of drivers I was looking at. I was looking at Pierre Gasly and Fernando Alonso were kind of the 2 main ones that I was looking at. 2 drivers that we've actually had some battles with this season, and I end up going for Fernando Alonso. We're going to give him a go first. We're going to see if we can approach him, and maybe he will want to join our team. Of course, the Alpine that he's currently in is actually a pretty quick car. It's like 4th on the grid on R&D. So will he want to take a step down the grid to join our team? But he has actually accepted our approach, so we can go into negotiations with Fernando Alonso. This could be really interesting here. So we're going to start the negotiations here. We're going to put a small bid in of 6.03, I think, and we're just going to put that up to 6.1 as Alpine put in a vote. But then things kind of slow down a bit under consideration. We've only put 2 bids in here, and we've won. Alpine did not seem massively excited to massively keen to keep Alonso. Crazily, I mean, he's got the team like 3 podiums this season, but we have signed Fernando Alonso for our team, so that's going to be big for this season.
Here we are in the HQ of our newest Formula 1 team. We've got an awful lot to talk about, so let's jump straight in. We've seen ex-driver Lucas Weber has been spending quite a lot of time with your team recently. We understand he's been working as some kind of consultant. What's that been like?
I mean, this is a bit of a difficult question to answer because I have absolutely no idea that Lucas Weber's been around, but yeah, we're just going to pick one of these answers because, yeah.
In a recent interview, you spoke on the topic of mental health in sports, and you mentioned you were initiating a mental health program at your team HQ. What drove this decision?
Once again, random questions here that aren't really to do with the car or anything. They're just random questions that I have no say in, to be honest. So, bit random. I'm going to be honest. A lot of these questions are just a bit weird, but we're just going to go with one of these options that sound good.
The recent flooding at the factory must have been a significant setback for your team. How much impact does something like that actually have?
They're still bringing this flooding thing in. That happened like way earlier in the season, like way at the start of the season, the whole flooding thing. But yeah, once again, we're just going to choose that.
According to your latest quarterly report, your team is very cash rich. Now, is that a safety net, or are you saving for something expensive?
I mean, I wouldn't have said we were cash rich. I'm just saving up for a good teammate, and then we're going to put some big facility upgrades on this season.
Other teams have invested more in their facilities than you have. Are you happy with what you have, or is there a cash flow issue?
No, like I said before, we're going to do the facility upgrades now. I don't know if that was an option. I don't know what I picked because I can't really see. It's very blurry on my preview, but yeah, we're going to spend a lot of money on the facilities going into this season.
Well, thanks a lot for inviting us here. It's been fantastic.
No worries, Will Buxton. So we end the season here. We've got Fernando Alonso alongside us here, of course. He wasn't our driver for this season, but he's our driver now, so that's the one that it shows. I do find that a little bit strange. We get 8th in the constructors, and that means that we also get our goal bonus for our major sponsor, which was to finish 8th or better in the constructors. So we have done that, thankfully, so that is awesome. We're going to do a full 20 race calendar again this season. I'm really looking forward to the new tracks coming out. Hopefully within the next couple of months we'll see some of those come out. But for this season we won't have those involved because they are not out at this time. Hopefully maybe for season 3 we'll have those new tracks. As for our major sponsor this time, we're going to go for Moon. We have to score 25 Constructors Championship points. Is that throughout season? I think it might be throughout season. We're going to go for that. It's something that we should be able to do relatively easily. But it's, I don't know, maybe a little bit more difficult than coming 8th. I don't know, I just wanted to change up the sponsor, but our car is still, because there wasn't, the only regulation change was durability. R&D hasn't really shifted at all with the teams. We're going to go for Renault for our engine this time because Renault and Honda actually have the exact same stats. So I thought just to mix it up a bit, we'll go Renault to change it from Honda. Also, I mean, kind of makes sense. We've got Fernando Alonso in the team. Maybe he's brought that Renault engine along with him. That can be the storyline we're going for here. As for our overalls, well, I'm going for something a little bit different here. Now, you haven't seen the car yet. I'm going to do a car reveal in a bit. Well, you'll probably have seen it from the thumbnail because I think I'm going to put the car in the thumbnail, but we're actually changing our colors up this time because I couldn't find a car livery that worked very well with the gold that we had last time. So we're actually going for a bit more of a green and a little bit of orange in this. We're actually not going to go with the orange in the race suit because I just don't think it really works out as well. But yeah, the green and orange is what we're going to be running this season, which means we're also going to change our team colors. But as you can see here, I'm going to be honest, a lot of the driver suits and all that sort of stuff are not great that are in the game at the moment. This is one of my favorites. I believe it's the one you get for having played F1 2020, or it's having the deluxe edition or something like that. There really are not a whole lot of good racing suits and definitely car liveries. I mean, I think the next season pass, kind of podium pass, it needs to have some better car liveries and stuff because there really aren't many good ones. They look a bit too, I don't know, they just look a bit too messy and jumbled, and I don't really like them. I have heard a lot of people complain about how the podium pass really does not have a whole lot of good car liveries and stuff. So I'm just kind of going with the best that I can. I really do quite like this livery for our race suit. We're also going to change up the helmet. We're actually going to go for an orangey and black helmet. I've got a little bit of orange on the car, only a little bit, but the main color is green. However, I want to switch it up with an orange helmet, and I mean, you see in real life all the time, drivers have completely different color helmets than they do for the cars, so if it doesn't match too well, I'm not too bothered. We're going to keep our logo pretty much the same, our emblem, but just change the colors a bit to reflect what the car is now, what the team colors are now, and then we're going to go for Achieve as our third sponsor. I believe that is something like score so many points in a race. So here is our car for Season 2. The Season 2 TGL Motorsport car. We've gone for white, green, and a little bit of orange, also a bit of black in there. This was honestly the best livery that I could find. That livery I used for Season 1 is probably still my favourite livery. It's actually a really good one. It's honestly like the only good one in this podium pass so far. This one I do quite like. It's not quite as, you know, crazy as the other liveries, but I like it. It's a little bit more simple, and I actually like that. I think I tried this with kind of the gold, the black, and the silver that we had last season. It just didn't really work very well, so I decided to go for this white kind of base with green as the main accent colors. A little bit of orange there because orange is my favorite color, and I really like the orange. I think it looks good. And then just, you know, like bits of black in that kind of pattern on the white there, and black on the bottom. I think this looks really good. I'm very happy with how this car looks. I can't wait to go driving with this. It looks so cool. I think it's going to stand out quite a bit more than our previous car. Of course, our previous car from last season, very, very dark car, you know, the black, the relatively dark gold, and the silver in that. This is a much more bright and vibrant car, so I think it will stand out quite a bit more. Although at the same time, there are a lot of white cars on the grid, but I think the green and that orange stripe will definitely make it stand out. And yeah, I'm very happy with this. I can't wait to go driving with this car for Season 2, also to see Fernando Alonso in this beast is going to be pretty damn awesome. And now we're going to do what we were talking about earlier and put some facility upgrades on the car. So I haven't done a whole lot of facility upgrades throughout the season because we haven't been earning a whole lot of cash because we haven't been finishing massively high on the grid. And also, just wanted to save money for teammates and stuff like that. Now though we've got our new teammates, we can splash a bunch of cash into the facilities. So we're going to try and get pretty much all of our facilities up to Spec 2, or at least I think actually we managed to get them all to Spec 2. We're going to put another personnel upgrade on. We're going to go for the fitness center, I believe, because the one at the bottom is pretty much just for experience. It might be focus as well, but don't think Alonso really needs a whole lot of experience. And yeah, we're just putting quite a few upgrades on here just to at least get the facilities so that they are, they have Spec 1 on everything. But I think we're also going to have every facility at Spec 2 because we're going to put a second upgrade on each facility here, I believe. So hopefully that'll increase the build times and stuff for our R&D. It'll also mainly give us a few more R&D resource points as well, but also the quality control is a big one. I think it's one of the biggest things that you can upgrade because you really need the quality control. We've been having a lot of failures this season with new parts putting on the car. It's really the main reason why we haven't really moved up the grid, which is a bit disappointing. And talking about moving up the grid, well, we're actually nowhere. We're in the same place as we was at the end of last season because durability was the only thing getting changed. It actually doesn't affect R&D at all. So we're still the 8th fastest team behind Alfa Romeo, in front of AlphaTauri. We have actually moved a little bit closer to Alfa Romeo because they got a little bit ahead of us at the end of last season because we weren't really upgrading in the last 2 or 3 races, whereas we've now put some upgrades on going into this, which means we've caught back up to Alfa Romeo. So hopefully, I'm hoping that by the end of the season we can be well into that mid pack. I'm really hoping that's going to be the case for the end of this season, and hopefully maybe fighting for podiums and stuff by the end of the season on a not regular basis, but on a relatively good basis. Onto the driver transfers now, the big stuff. Starting at the bottom, Nicholas Latifi is still at Williams. He's retained his seat at Williams. However, Valtteri Bottas is alongside him. In real life, this might seem completely normal. Bottas very likely in some ways to go to Williams next season and not be at Mercedes. But in this career mode of ours, he's literally just dominated the first season. And now he's down in the worst team on the grid, the second worst team on the grid. So I don't know why he's gone from literally winning in the Mercedes by a mile last season to being in a Williams this season. I don't know what's going on there, but it definitely makes for an interesting lineup. We see then Fernando Alonso is now part of our TGL Motorsport team, looking good there in our outfit. I do quite like that racing suit. I think it looks relatively good. Yeah. Really excited to see how Alonso's going to do. As for Red Bull, they have still got Sergio Perez there in the second seat and also Max Verstappen, so no changes for Red Bull. Going into Season 2, we continue up the grid. Mercedes, Antonio Giovinazzi is in a Mercedes. What the hell has happened? Giovinazzi was by far the weaker of the 2 Alfa Romeo teammates, and somehow he's now in a Mercedes. He's only 79 rated, and he's in a Mercedes. This was crazier than Bottas going to Williams for me. I don't get why, out of all the drivers, Giovinazzi has gone to Mercedes. That's just crazy to me. I'm excited to see what he can do, whether he can put up a fight to his teammate. I really don't think he can. His teammate is Lewis Hamilton, so he keeps his seat at Mercedes. But yeah, what a weird lineup for the top team. And I mean, they are still by a reasonable margin the top team. McLaren stays the same. You've got Lando Norris there, and alongside him, same as last season, we do have Daniel Ricciardo. So no changes there at all. as we carry on up the grid when I do so. Haas continues with Mick Schumacher in that seat there at the Haas and Nikita Mazepin. No changes for them. I imagine they'll still be at the bottom of the table. I mean, they did finish 9th actually because of that crazy Silverstone race. Carlos Sainz stays in Ferrari alongside Charles Leclerc, so no changes there. As you can see here, not a lot of changes going on. Sebastian Vettel in Aston Martin retains his seat there alongside Lance Stroll. So although there are some pretty crazy driver moves this season, there's not a whole lot of driver moves on the whole. Christian Lundgaard, though, my teammate, he goes to Alpine, so he has taken Fernando Alonso's seat. So it's a straight swap between them two. I'm looking forward to seeing what Lundgaard can do in the Alpine. That is actually a relatively decent car. It's like 4th or 5th in R&D. So yeah, Lundgaard could potentially be in the points more often. Definitely going to be looking out to see how he does. Maybe we can still have some battles with him this next season. So, yeah, that's an interesting move. He is still alongside with Esteban Ocon, keeping his seat at Alpine for this next season. AlphaTauri all stays the same as well. Yuki Tsunoda in that second seat. He's been doing okay this season, but definitely nothing compared to his teammate Pierre Gasly. Absolutely rocking the socks off that car. He stays at AlphaTauri though. He's not going to move any further up the grid. Alfa Romeo though, George Russell steals Giovanazzi's seat at Alfa Romeo, so it's going to be good for George. He's in a slightly quicker car than he was last season with the Williams. Still not massively quick, but I think we could see ourselves battling Russell throughout this season because that Alfa Romeo is actually just ahead of us on R&D, and yeah, Russell I'm sure can definitely do a good job in that car, so really good to see him in a slightly quicker car. It would have been nice to see him even further up the order, but yeah, Russell does get that Alfa seat, and then Kimi Raikkonen in the other Alfa Romeo seat. There's no retirements at the end of this season, so drivers, there's no new drivers that come into the sport, so interesting on that department, but there we have it. That is the Season 2 pre-season for F1 2021 My Team. I'm really excited to go into this season, to start this new season and see how it all goes. Definitely excited to see, one, how my teammate Fernando Alonso will do, how my old teammate Lundgaard will do in Alpine, and then Giovinazzi and Mercedes, I think it's just crazy. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do in that car. And then Bottas and Williams, crazy stuff. Will he massively outperform that car? I don't know. Considering the form he had last season, I think he could do pretty damn well. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.